everyone. We are very pleased to have you today. This is a different kind of conference because, you know, we have the pandemic. So from Morocco, we would like to have this event organized today. We are going to talk about automotive and all that is around the automotive industry. We would like to give you the opportunity to reassess what will be the future of the automotive, what is going on, what are there is not a crisis, but we are going to talk about opportunities. The goal of this event, of course, to talk about opportunities of business regarding the German company settled in Morocco. And we are going to talk about different fields of business, but all of them related to automotive. How this is going to take place, I'm going to explain it a little bit to you. We are here and we will interact with you that are online. We will not be waiting the end of this event. When we start, you could raise your question. They will be feeding our discussion. And of course, all our speakers are here. They will be available to deliver answers to you. All the topic that will be shared today, this is the place to have networking or to put networking in place. By 4 p.m., you could keep discussing among all of you, and we hope that this will be the place for new contact, new business relationship. We are going to have another webinar. Maybe you can extend this webinar with all your insight. So this is the introduction. Once again, be welcome to this webinar. Mr. Andreas. Hello, Mr. Andrea. Thank you for being here. Mrs. Anke, she is project manager at GIZ. And Mr. Mrabet, she is working at AHK Morocco. You will stay with us today, you will stay with us for the event, and you will stay also for the question and answer. And you have been launching a working group, gathering all the subcontractors involved in the automotive industry. So we're going to have, of course, we're going to trust on you to feed this discussion about the automotive parts. Thank you for organizing this series of conferences regarding automotive. So our goal is to emphasize on the businesses between Morocco and Germany, and of course one of our targets is about increasing the job opportunities in Morocco, especially in the field of automotive, especially German factories. This field of business is attractive. And the future will be driven by engineering. Engineering will be creating more jobs. And of course, this will have a steady impact on the Moroccan economy. I am very pleased to be here today. Thank you to you, Mr. Ibrahimi, for your availability. Thank you to the GIZ for their support for the organizing of this event. I would like to say that I am very pleased to be here. The speech, the partners, the discussions, they are going to bring close our countries. And we hope that this experience sharing will draw more business. I hope that this event will be fruitful. Thank you. Thank you for your little introduction. Thank you to AHK. Thank you to the GIZ. We would like to have, I would like to give you the floor. We would like to know how this working group focus on automotive subcontractors is in place. Give us more detail. Thank you for giving me the floor. My greeting to those who are online and to those who are within this room. Thank you to AHK. Thank you for organizing this business talk, Automotive. This is a series of events. Within this Invest for Job initiative, we are going to display the slides. We already had an event in March. Today it's the second business talk and also focus on Invest for Job. How are we working? How do we approach this issue? This was launched by the German Ministry in charge of cooperation in 2018. We as GIZ, we were given the duty to implement this in Morocco. So this is the Partnership for Employment and Support to Small-Scale Businesses. And this is implemented, as you could see, in 8 countries in Africa, Tunisia, Ethiopia, but with also an involvement in West Africa. It is also implemented with other donors. As you have already seen, KfW is also part of it. And other German institutions. We, as GIZ, we have offices in these countries. Our goal is about job creation and also training center for improve the skills of workers within those countries. We do have some figures. In all the 8 countries, we would like to reach 100,000 employment job. In Morocco, 1,900. And we would like also to have 30,000 seats for training, among 3,000 in Morocco. What is our approach? We would like to make some comparison. We want to work with investors to identify, develop, implement investment project with job creation at aim. This is our major criteria. How we support project, and the GIZ came with technical, financial support. This is important to, it's relevant to underline it. It's all a whole support that comes with. And Mr. Idrissi is going to give you some example in detail about how we proceed. So our scope of intervention, it's a strong support to the small-scale business in Morocco. We launched a call for proposal in 2020, and we are focused on 10 projects with the small-scale size businesses in order to implement their project locally. Our second field of intervention, it is to strengthen clusters. We would like to support cluster by helping them to access to know-hows for a whole set of corporation in order to help them to get benefits from research and development. The third level, it's about business and investment. At this level, we have cooperation with KfW. We focused on German corporations that are already based in Morocco or those who are targeting Morocco as a next destination. We would like to help them to go across some challenge. These are our field of businesses. Automotive, we are also acting in the food industry. We also support digitalization, how we improve the know-how, how we move to the 4.0 industry. This is where we invest. Mr. Idrissi is going to give you example related to automotive industry. This is how you can get in touch with us. We do have an office in Rabat, but also to AHK, we do have a strong cooperation. You can also reach to us to, this is a short introduction. And I will give the floor to my colleague. For those who are interested, they have our contact on the board to reach to us. We do have, today we are going to talk about automotive. And please tell us, what are you doing concretely? Thank you, Mr. Faisal. What we are doing within the PPE project, I would like to give the example of 2 projects that we carry out that are part of 10 projects. I would like to take an example of a project that gathering 2 Moroccan companies that are in the automotive, that are involved in manufacturing brake. And the project is focused on decarbonation. We have a solar plant that is going to decrease by 20% the use of fossil fuel. The second axis, it's improving of the production. We would like to have less dust, because we have dust that is nocive for workers. And we would like to have the homologation of 90 projects and 90 items that will new reference. It's about 6 Moroccan dirham million. GIZ is supporting up to 2,200,000 Moroccan dirham. This project will lead to a job creation of 44 seats, and 140 workers will see their job condition improved. This is an example that comes within the Challenge Fund. This is one project among many, among 10. So the second example I will give to you is to support given to a training center in the field of automotive. So the project is about the purchasing of new material for the trainee. Within that, we are going to purchase a new equipment for plastic injection. We are going to purchase some histers, load carrier. So the project will help the training of 5,000 people and leading to the creation of 4,500 new employment. So the project is about 700,000 euros. So these are two examples that were organized this year, and we hope to move forward within the new project that will be launched in the short future. So I would like to give the floor to Mr. Tuklawi. So we were talking about the automotive field. So Mr. Ibrahimi is with us. He will stay after 4 o'clock. He will talk to us about the opportunities. We are talking about automotive field in detail. Thank you. I'm going to introduce myself, and I would like to give you a short presentation about myself and my relation with the automotive field, and also my relationship with Germany. My name is Said Mrabet Ibrahimi. I study in Germany. Then I start in Morocco. I study in the city of Bremen. I was in Hamburg also. I made 1 year. Then I started studying at Bremen, the city of Bremen. I started my career 20 years ago with the company for the Bonnet. I had the possibility to work and to have the relationship with some German company. So I was also in contact with German businesses. I work in different company that has a headquarters in Germany or 100% ownership German company. I work at Takata, Yazaki. They have their headquarters in Germany. Then I was general manager of petrol. After that, I have the opportunity to change, and I start with Stadtschmidt, Morocco. In the 20 years spent, I had the opportunity to oversee different offices like quality, production, project management. Also, I had the opportunity to oversee the whole spot in the 8 past year. So for the year 2021 and 2022, I am in charge as the representative of the automotive sector in collaboration with the ASHCA, and to be also the official speaker of this network. So we are talking about automotive in Morocco. Automotive in Morocco started 20 years ago in Morocco, but the speed up started with the industrial plan between 2014-2020 with the launch of two major plants like PSA and Renault. Morocco has the second car builder in Africa. In Morocco, there are 150,000 employment that were created and 250 businesses operating in the field. So there is a second plan that will be launched in 2021 to 2023. Its main goal will be increasing the local integration of car builder, and the increases will be of 60%, 60 to 80%. Today, Morocco is exporting 90% of all the automotive parts that are built in Morocco. 80% are focused to the European market. In 2029, Morocco was able to export 20 billion US dollars in goods. So we need to put it aside phosphate. Always saying when we are talking about automotive, if we were saying 20 years ago that automotive field of business will be overcoming phosphate in terms of income, people will not believe. So Morocco was able to export more than 10 billion US dollars. In the field of automotive, there is a lot of diversification. We have the cable, we have the building, we have the battery manufacturing, we have the seats, car seats, and other parts or components that are manufactured in Morocco. So the idea behind the working group, the automotive working group, so from AHK Morocco and GIZ within the framework of training and employment. In this field, of course, there are some items to be taken in account. It's the promoting of foreign investment in Morocco along with job creation and training. This working group was launched in February 2021 to be the advocacy of a German car manufacturer in Morocco. So the launching of this working group, it is overseen by AHK Morocco. Its goal is to be a sustainable partner with the support of GIZ. So it has a speaker that is elected for a term of 2 years. He is relevant to be working in this field. What are our businesses in the automotive field? So the speaker, in collaboration with GIZ and AHK, they decide about the different activity to be put in place. If we talk about our goals, we have three main goals. So our goal within the working group, automotive working group, We are targeting three main goals. The first one is the problem solving. Second is representation. And the third one is networking. So regarding the problem solving, we create new project to solve the common project. Then remove all the investment obstacle. For example, through professional training, implement in existing initiative. For example, CCOA. Regarding representation, we need to represent the Moroccan automotive industry overseas and also the German car manufacturer, organizing trade fair in Morocco or abroad to promote the automotive sector in Morocco. The third goal is about networking, working together, swapping good practice among companies, widen the working group, automotive working group, in order to welcome new members. So here you have the list of partners involved in this automotive work group. They are classified in three. You have the subcontractors, you have a company involved in research and development, and you have other type of companies that are coming from chemical field of business or services. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brahimi, for this presentation. If you have any question, please ask your question. We will have another roundtable if you want to ask, if you would like to be part of this automotive working group. So that's 30 minutes past 3. Thank you to all the speakers. Mr. Ibrahimi, stay with me. We have our second stage. We will have 1 hour and the floor is open. You can ask your questions. I'm having new speakers, 2 on the stage and 1 online. We have Mr. Zerouk. Mr. Zerouk, how are you doing? I am doing fine. Mr. Afsi, how are you doing? I'm doing great. And Mr. Hesse, Mr. Thiel Hesse, est-ce que vous m'entendez, Monsieur Hesse? I think maybe we'll try to solve the issue of the connection in order to have Mr. Hesse later. Mr. Thiel is speaking English, but this event is supported with interpretation. So I'll be talking in French. Mr. Thiel will deliver his answer in English. So the goal of this discussion is to talk about the environment, where the automotive lines now. We have the overview in Morocco. We are going to talk about now. Where do we stand? We know that we are under the pandemic. We have the chips crisis, but it's not the topic of the day, but we need to understand how the scarcity of chips could be seen as an opportunity. Even it's hard to believe, but before we come to that, we are going to introduce our field of business. You as subcontractors or players in the field, what are you designing? What are you manufacturing? I am General Manager of Pretel Automotive Morocco. I'm going to introduce the Pretel company. It was launched in 1953, German ownership. It is established in Morocco since 10 years. So, we have launched a company in the new industrial area of Tangiers on 600 acres. In Morocco, we are supplying car maker Bosch, Tier Continental. Our turnover for this year is about 26 million euro. We are a good success example of a German company that started 10 years ago in Morocco as a small-scale business. By 2010, our turnover was about 2 million, but now we are up 26 million. With moving from 100 to 600 employees. We are focused on automotive, as I said, with Magna as our client. And we are also working on the e-bike. 55% of our field of business is focused on e-bike. All that is related to wire sensors are manufactured, designed in Morocco, in our factory based in Tangiers. Our future as Pretel company goes through our Moroccan factory because from the last 6 to 8 months, you need to know that Pretel has 33 factories across the world. Of course, the African spot is based in Morocco. We are the leader in Morocco for the Middle East and North Africa. We are here acting since the last 10 years, and we have increased your turnover by 10-fold. Mr. Hafsi.
So, SSV, it's an engineering company. We have expertise in the automotive. This is the family-owned business from Germany. Our general manager is also a lecturer at the Aix-la-Chapelle University. We launched our Moroccan branch in 2019. So the project was in the air since 2018. We start by opening an office in Casablanca. This office is still open. We have 75 employees, and we would like to create a automotive testing center in Morocco. That will be the first one in Africa. We will have 23 kilometers. We will have all the equipment for testing, for component items or part testing. All of this. By the end of the year, the current year, we will open the center, the testing center, but its full capacity will be reached next year. So you will have to have a lab, a testing lab for the automotive industry. We have 90% of our workers are engineers, Moroccan engineers. Of course, we do have few foreigners to launch the business, but the great majority of our workers are Moroccan engineers, and we are here to help and support the automotive field of business with research and development and testing. Now let's talk about wire. So the Stahlschmidt Corporation based in Morocco is a company of German ownership. We launched in January 2021 in Morocco. The Stahlschmidt company decided to relocate all its European production in Hungary, Germany, to have it in Morocco, to have it displaced in Morocco. So the relocation of this production will create 1,100 employment in Morocco, and it goes with technology transfer. We don't produce electric wire in Morocco. Now we are producing boarding cable that are helping to open doors or fence in the automotive. So the different technique and process in the production of the boarding cable, these are process developed, and this process will be the first one to be implemented in Morocco. Stahlschmidt Corporation is going to relocate a turnover of 60 million euro per year in Morocco. And of course, this opportunity will open a door for new engineers and job employment in Morocco. Next question will be why be focused in Morocco? What led you to come and settle in Morocco? 10 years, 15 years, some will be asking question, but the result is here. We would like to help those who are watching. What are investment opportunities in Morocco, and what are you going to find when arriving in Morocco?
Directeur de projet chez International Transfer Center.
International Transfer from Logistic. The first question I would like to ask to you, please, will you introduce your company, please? Will you introduce your company?
Yes, of course. First of all, hello everyone. Greetings from Berlin to Casablanca. Very happy to be here to join this fruitful discussion. So my name is Till Hesse from the ITCL. We are a consulting company based out of Berlin, and we have very close ties to the Technical University of Berlin. And usually we do customer-oriented logistics projects. We optimize processes for them. We do cost-cutting measures, performance optimization in plants, warehouses, and transports. But also we do studies, and we also work with the Federal Ministry for Development in Germany. And in that account, we have been part of the PAMA, the so-called Pan-African Mobility Alliance. The GIZ has a very big part in that, created this PAMA, and also there are a lot of automotive companies within that PAMA, German automotive companies and suppliers. And they want to invest in Africa, but they need to know more about the countries that they want to invest in. And that's where we came in. We did the study on Morocco, also on Ghana and Ethiopia, and offered solutions to the automotive industry and showed them the potential of Morocco. So again, very, very happy to be here and looking forward to a fruitful discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Till. Please stay with us. Before I ask the question to the panel, they are business owners. They found in Morocco an attractive place to develop their business, and they were able to be successful. You at ATCL, how do you see Morocco as an investment country for automotive? So I'm going to, Mr. Till, you will deliver your answer later. Don't worry.
But we are going to. So you introduce your different company. Please let us know what was the key for success. And we'll be talking also about your innovation and what are your goals for the future. What leads to your success? You, for example, said that your turnover was increased by tenfold. What did you find here? So I will start by the logistic aspect. We do have a great advantage in Morocco in Tangiers. We have an airport that is named Tangier Med. That's a airport. So our trucks, the first point, if I like to start by the positive aspect, we are the proximity. Our trucks are able to deliver in Spain within 24 hours. Spain and Portugal, France within 36 hours. I think this is a competitive advantage. We know in automotive what we talk about transit time, delivery time. So the second advantage is about the manpower. We have skilled workers, whether in the mid-management, whether at the engineers level. So we have schools, engineer schools, we have business schools that are able to train engineers and manager or potential manager skilled in the field of automotive. These are the major advantage. In addition, we could talk about government incentive that are available for the automotive industry, like Hassan II Fund, that is accessible for automotive investor. These are the three major advantage for the German corporation, German company that would like to settle in Morocco. You said it's about engineering, research, so you come in a specific field of business. So let's say we haven't spent too much time in Morocco. We're just launching our project. What I could say, setting up a testing center needs a lot of thought because this is going to be the first one. So we have a good welcome from the Ministry of Industry. They support us during the whole process. We've seen that all the officers involved in this field are here. They would like to develop the field, try their best. And we come during the pandemic, but we decided to move ahead despite the pandemic because there is a desire from the public authority and we are very hopeful for the future. When we are talking about engineering, it's a little bit tricky, like for the businesses that are involved in production. Of course, we have people that are skilled that we hire, but since it's a new field of business, we need more training in some field that are cutting the edge. but we see that our engineers has a good level and they are flexible, and we are very optimistic for the future. So in your field, so I could add a few items to what was said already. So to experience success for the company settling in Morocco, I could say there are four pillars leading to success. In first place, the political stability. If there is no political stability, all that you're going to be invest is going to be lost. You have political stability. The know-how, the automotive know-how in Morocco since the last 20 years, and that is improving. So there's a know-how that is improving. And so what Mr. Zerouk said, we do have the logistic platform, all the infrastructure that was built by Morocco, what is Tangiers, harbor, the railways, the highways, all these infrastructure are supporting the logistics. And there is something relevant. Of course, the costs are not high for the employment cost. Comparatively to Europe, how much you pay for an engineer in Morocco is not the same amount you pay in Europe.
Till, can you hear me now? I'm going to try to get your answer. I'm going to speak in English, just maybe to avoid the timing of a translation for you. Maybe you heard what was told by our guest about Morocco. What should you say? What would you say to a client of yours that you accompany when he asks you the question, why should I go and invest in Morocco in automotive industry?
Okay, I didn't really get the translation, but I think my colleagues were talking about the benefits of investing in Morocco, so I will just join them in that. And for me, the strength of Morocco is that the automotive industry is already very present. So from a German point of view, if you look at Africa, Morocco is one of the most attractive investment locations, maybe next to South Africa, because at the current state you already have the capacity to produce over 700,000 vehicles per year. I believe your automotive exports are 27% of the whole export sales. So the automotive industry is very strong in Morocco already. And as my colleagues also pointed out, the logistics situation of Morocco is very prominent for Germany and for European countries. You have a great harbor infrastructure, you have a very good connection to the important markets in Europe, both export and import wise. Also very important for African countries, the good energy grid and supply is very state of the art compared to other countries that we have been looking at. Maybe one weakness in Morocco would be that always as an investor you look for local markets. And for automotive, of course, I think you have 36 million inhabitants in Morocco, so the demand within Morocco is not the biggest in Africa. For example, Ethiopia has around 112 million inhabitants, so the market is a little bigger. So in my thoughts, Morocco needs to know how to transfer also to other markets. How can the demand for the Moroccan market be expanded to other African countries? How can you become a transfer country for investors as well? And I believe that you are on a very good walk there, because you have very good national strategies. I believe the Ministry of Equipment and Transport has a very good strategy. Investment in upgrading the basic infrastructure. I believe 23 billion euros have been invested in road construction. And also you have this industrial acceleration plan where we integrate value chains and automotive is one of the 6 areas that is invested in there. So the market is really growing, and the politics are behind it. Also on digitalization, the Marek Digital 2020 strategy, where you accelerate digital transformation. So you are on a very good road there. I believe in forms of innovation, you place 50 worldwide. You're the strongest country in Africa when it comes to innovation. And also, when we're talking about the COVID crisis, I believe Bloomberg Economics said it in their ranking that Morocco is outperforming the other emerging countries in terms of economic recovery. In 2021, it is forecasted that your export of goods and services will be a plus of 9%, even though we have the crisis. And from what I hear, the vaccination campaign is really, really strong in Morocco as well. So there are great opportunities to invest, and I believe there are good steps that have been taken both by the industry, but also by institutions and the politics. Back to the studio.
We are going through a trying time. I would like to have your opinion. Then after, we are going to talk about the future. Of course, the pandemic, of course, 2 years, difficult, but not understood by the public, but well understood by the company, the chips crisis. So how are you thinking about the scarcity of chips? How German company are thinking about the chips crisis, scarcity, Mr. Zeruk? Of course, of course, we are impacted by the scarcity of chips. So, of course, the supplier, tier 1 or tier 2, are going through this scarcity of chips due to COVID pandemic. What are the solutions? Solutions are about developing, customizing your production unit to that situation. Unfortunately, our Morocco, we have some factories that are closing for weeks in order to optimize the factory. We have suppliers that are stopping their business for days. We have suppliers that are decreasing their workforce in order to face the crisis. Morocco, our example, Pretel, through our different factory, we are trying to optimize the production in low-cost country. In Morocco, the workforce cost is acceptable, is affordable. So we are trying to make some saving in order to optimizing the production in Morocco. This is the solution we were able to find for Pretel Group. I will say that the crisis that is impacting the automotive field is impacting all the field of business. We are indirectly impacted because we are not producing, but our clients are impacted, so they don't have more cash, so they are delaying all the development projects. So talking about, my colleague talk about optimization at the low-cost countries. Morocco is well located because we see this trend. Our customers are asking more and more cost optimization. And we also, in our group, we are trying to have a significant percentage of our project in low-cost country. And Morocco is a new destination in this field because we are targeting other countries also. But we are developing our business in Morocco, and I hope in the future it will pay off. So I have one question for you on the testing center. It is one follower on internet. It's a second testing center that may open in Morocco. I don't know, competition. So do you think there is a business to be developed regarding the testing center? But anyway, that's the first question. Do you think there are a lot of opportunity in the, is it a good business? Well, let's say the testing ground is relevant for industry. Why? We would like to bring new business in the research and development. I could talk about the designing of engines. You could not design engine in Morocco because there is no testing center. The car testing could be done on the street, but we need specific testing ground in order to test different parts of the car. This is going to help the car builder based in Morocco to bring an added value at the research and development. There are some business that are carried out in Europe that we are starting in Morocco, and it will continue in the future. It is going to draw maybe new car builder from Europe that would like to carry out some testing in gaining of the fact on the location of Morocco, gaining on the low costs of the workforce. So if there is a testing ground, it needs to be next to factories, right? Of course, there is a challenge in the cost, transportation costs, that could also impact the performance. But we have the advantage. There is a first car builder that is here, that is Stellantis, that would like to develop this field of business in Morocco. At the testing ground, it will help us to have some activities. There's a lot of things to take in account when we are going to launch testing ground. Of course, there's a logistic aspect. We are working on this aspect, and we see that the Moroccan state would like to help us, and we have good, interesting talks with the customs of administration, at the Ministry of Industry, even the governor of the area. All of them would like to know what are the issues we are facing, how they could help us. There is also the training. Morocco had good engineers from the schools. This is a new business, so we need to have more training. We have all the environment, the stability that is part of, and Morocco has a lot of advantage that could be seized as opportunity. So the impact of the scarcity of chips, and we'll also ask the question to Mr. Till, and then I will ask question about innovation. This is the key. You as German factory based in Morocco, do you have the potential for innovation? So, or do you think the scarcity of chips could be an opportunity for the future? So the impact is the pandemic and the history of chips. For us at Ashta Schmidt Morocco, COVID impact is heavier than the scarcity of chips because we are starting. We need to travel to Cologne, we need to go to Hungary in order to relocate the production. It means that for us it is the lack of mobility, but for our company, the chips, scarcity of chips, I have the privilege the last month to travel. Last week I was in Hungary, and you see the impact of the scarcity of chips over the production. There were only few production lines. Mr. Till, we are going to talk about innovation. So the scarcity of chips at the world level, we were depending on one production spot in the world. Is it an opportunity for the industry or an opportunity for Morocco for innovation?
Well, definitely in my point of view. If you look at automotive, for me, in general, the chips have two problems. First, for automotive, it is the supply quantity. The supply is short anyways, and as a second part, the automotive is not even the biggest customer. The 10 biggest customers for chips are technological companies like Apple, Samsung, HP, Dell. All of these companies, they are the major customers for these chip producers. So the first problem for automotive is they are not even the key customer for the demand that is there. And the second problem in my point of view is the supply risk, sourcing only from Asia. And COVID made that even clearer. So the supply risks of single sourcing from a single source, were pointed out in COVID, and now the problem is even bigger. And so German companies or European companies are looking more and more for nearshoring strategies, as my colleague said, going to Hungary, for example, East Europe in general. But also Morocco can have a potential here because, as we already pointed out, the logistic benefits of Morocco are being so close to the European market. And also, you already started with semiconductor production. I believe a company like SMT has a plant in Morocco. TE Connectivity wants to invest. So you already have companies that are starting to produce semiconductors in Morocco. And from all the wiring industry, the wiring harness industry in North Africa, you have a lot of knowledge already in Morocco to produce good quality chips. So for me, it's definitely a big opportunity for Morocco to be part of that nearshoring activities of European companies.
Thank you. We are going to talk about innovation. You talk about e-mobility. You talk about e-bike. I think there's a lot of innovation in your field. You in Morocco, do you have any projects that are ongoing?
Of course. As I said a while ago, our group is believing in Morocco. Pretel is not investing only in hardware. We are also involved in the design and manufacturing for e-bike. This is why this group decided to create a hub for the European Middle East in order to be part of solution for e-bike. This project is going for our business to create a synergy, and also to create and to upgrade our skills for mid-manager or to develop existing solution, knowing that these solutions are delivered by our client Bosch We are not delivering our goods in Morocco only, but in Asia, America also. So put in place a testing ground. It's an innovation, but are you involved in other innovative projects? The testing ground will start by first step, but there will be new steps in mobility. We have engineers in Casablanca that are involved on our group project. Regarding the testing, we would like to start some validation test. And little by little in the future, we will have a testing ground for electric. So regarding the wire, but Ms. Stahlschmidt is not its only business. Could Morocco be an innovation ground? Germany is a automotive culture country. Morocco is starting at a high speed. So, could Morocco be an innovative ground for a company like yours? Yes, this automotive culture from Germany, of course, this automotive culture from Germany that is within Stahlschmidt. Stahlschmidt is supplying all the car builder like BMW. We are supplying also Daimler. We are supplying also Volkswagen, Audi, and Seat. All the German car manufacturers, they are already within our portfolio. It's good for our Moroccan office or plant to supply all those car builders. This is an innovation here in Morocco to be able to supply those clients. And of course, while enabling the opening of doors, we are going to implement this process in Morocco. There is no competition on the Moroccan ground, Moroccan soil. So I have a question for Mr. Till. Mr. Till. So I have the question for you, Mr. Till. What is the maturity level of Morocco in terms of automotive comparatively to other countries that you are studying, the country that you are?
Yes, thanks for the question. In my point of view, so we looked at African countries. I mean, in my point of view, Morocco has a very high maturity level. It has, as I said, the capacity to produce 700,000 vehicles per year, and its strategies in terms of politics are very good for investments. You have very attractive investment policies in terms of tax reduction if you come to Morocco as a company, and also the industrial acceleration plan supports businesses on site. So in terms of political stability, political support, it's very good in Morocco. And the second thing, very important for investment, the export market is supported grandly as well because of the logistics benefits of Morocco in terms of supplying Europe with parts. In my point of view, one thing that could be improved even is the integration of the tier N suppliers in Morocco. So you have tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, as we are sitting here at the table. So German companies or European companies that came to Morocco, invested in Morocco and that are producing in Morocco. However, a lot of the parts that they need to produce their product is actually being imported from Europe, from Germany or other European companies. And if you get the chance to get these tier N suppliers even closer to the production, and so develop tier N suppliers in Morocco, and really have the whole value chain of a product in Morocco, this would be a great potential in my point of view, because when you look at, for example, Germany, one of the strengths of Germany and especially the automotive industry in Germany is their supply industry and the very good integration of that supply industry in the automotive value chains. And if Morocco gets to that place where you have the bigger suppliers that are already there, but you have the supply base of smaller tier N suppliers also in Morocco with good quality of products, I believe that would be a great potential. And from what I saw in my study, and there are companies already in Morocco that are on the edge of becoming that mature, become integrated into the value chains. And that's also one of the biggest goals of the initiative that we are supporting, this PAMA initiative, Pan-African Mobility Alliance. One of the biggest goals of them is to integrate these small and medium-sized companies into African and European value chains of automotive.
Thank you, Mr. Thiel. I think one of the goals of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, you could see how the goals were met, or the target were met. We are talking about the integration level, integration rate. We are talking about tomorrow. The automotive of tomorrow. We have e-mobility. We are also the recirculation. We are going to talk about recirculation of battery. Having a German factory. Where are you going to launch your testing ground? But you need to be driving. So tell us.
Our testing ground will be in Wedzem, in the region of Koribga. Wedzem, it's 1 hour and 20 minutes away from Casablanca. From Tangiers, you need to go through Casablanca. Wedzem, where the testing center will be located. Why did you choose Wedzem? We chose the city of Wedzem. It was not our choice. The choice was made with the Moroccan state. For this kind of testing ground, we need a lot of space. We were granted 450 acres. So at Wedzem, we're in the area where there is the OCP that is granting us this field. It's a former mining spot, an abandoned mining spot that we are going to use for our testing ground. For those who are watching us, we give an overview on different field of business, subcontracting field, but tomorrow we know that the mobility of tomorrow will be about decarbonation, electric car. We go back to the first car. 75% of cabs of New York were electric cars. Billions US are invested to have electric cars. on which ground do we need to invest for tomorrow? Are you getting ready for the automotive of tomorrow? In our case, we are supplying wire, electric wire. So we are already, whether you are using a diesel or electric car for us, so we need to tailor solution for e-mobility, so tailored for automotive industry. I will add to that, the e-mobility development will go through an industry that is about green energy. So we start to invest our plant with a solar plant. So we are trying to include green energy even our plant. Well, I'm going to give an example of Stellantis in Morocco. Electric is already part in Morocco. There is still a lot to do in the future, but there is a strategy that was put in place. Yes, we could go into detail. The Stellantis group is producing the Citroën Ami, the Opel Erox that will come. It's an electric car and it is exported in Europe. So there is electrical engine produced, but Morocco have a strategy for the future. Morocco would like to develop the electric battery. This requires huge financing, but this is something that is part of the strategy of the government. Recently, in Fez, a lab was launched by Mr. Yazami for research regarding the battery. There are some discussions with the Moroccan states about that. These are topics I think Morocco would like to invest on the future of the technology automobile. Mr. Ibrahimi? Well, regarding the boarding wire, these are wire that help us to open car doors. These are the same whether you are using a diesel car or an electric car. So it's a manual, because even if the battery is down, you still have the opportunity of opening the doors. So by 2030, it's our goal. 2030, we have designed, and our adaptation plan will be enforced by 2030. So I have a question. We have a Moroccan company working with German company. How could we improve Moroccan subcontractors to be tier 1 suppliers? I think we should upgrade the standard, the ISO standard, and the next step will be relying on skills and expertise in the field of automotive. I will say I agree with what was said. To become a tier one supplier, you need to follow the international standard. It is the same in the flight industry or aeronautic. Mr. Till, I have a question for you, Mr. Till. Mr. Till, someone watching the debate said he is working in a Moroccan company, working in cooperation with German company. How a Moroccan company could transform to become tier 1 and tier 2 subcontractor or suppliers?
Yeah, that's a good question. We tried to analyze what is the problem of a current tier N supplier in becoming integrated into value chains. And there are different kinds of problems. One, as my colleague said, is the quality. So always, as a German company, if you want to source a product from a new source, from Morocco, for example, they need to comply with the quality standards. And in automotive, this is very difficult. So I think they need support in getting certified. And certification is also a cost issue. So if we have development and support programs, we should also always look on how can we support certification. And the other parts are, if the company is already mature enough, and a lot of them in Morocco they are mature enough, but they just don't have the market access to Europe. So either their production capacities are not big enough at the moment, so we need to develop them into companies that can produce a quantity that is getting interesting for automotive company in Germany. So that there's a development of size there, but also there's access to market in terms of marketing. The German companies, they just don't know the Moroccan companies and don't know how to get in contact with them. So we, as Parma and you out there, you can, with your network, you can help connect German, European companies with these smaller SMEs in Morocco and try to find out together how can we develop suppliers. And the interest of German companies to develop suppliers in Morocco and in Africa in general is really high. So there's just a connectivity problem there. And the third one probably is that the product specifications are really hard to find out for automotive. So we had this one example where we had a coating supplier that is supplying industry coating in Morocco for a chemical company, a big chemical company out of Germany. And they said they probably can produce coating for automotive, for cars as well. They just don't know the product specifications that is needed to produce automotive coating. But once they have the specifications, they would be able to. So as I said, the maturity of companies is sometimes already there. It's rather a market access issue. And I think that's one of the points where development aid or development support should aim at.
Thank you, Mr. Thiel. Two questions that I would like to ask to all of you. First, talking about the skills. I asked the question, and you found engineers, but we have the question of today. We would like to have a hub of engineers. You mentioned it a while ago. For those who are watching us that would like to invest in Morocco, today, the upgrading of skills, the training, is it enough? What is your thought? How is it organized today that will help you to have all the skills, all the needed skills in order to deliver an answer to meet the expectation of the big German companies?
I would like to say through the continuous training. The Moroccan government is supporting a company in the automotive field through the hiring of engineers. The schools do have some skills related to automotive, and we are adding to that training, to that engineer training, with additional training. we send them in Europe or other country in order for them to receive additional training. We tailor the training. I agree with what my colleague have said. The engineers coming out from schools here in Morocco receive a good training. Then we need to train them to our field of business. So there is a strong need of training from, of course, we receive some support, some financial incentive from the Moroccan government. We would like to put in place some cooperation with engineer schools in order to guide them about what could be taught at school, to add new topic that are relevant to our field of business. We receive a good welcome from Moroccan engineer schools. Regarding our field of business, the challenge that we will face in terms of engineer training will be the change that will take place in the automotive industry. Today, we are well located, but the challenge will be the technology upgrade in the automotive business. And we need to be proactive in terms of training in order to upgrade the skills of our engineers, and maybe also upgrade the training module in the school, engineer school. And we have also automotive automotive field is taught in the Mohammed VI University in Salih. This field of studies is tailored to automotive. So the next question is about technology transfer. This is a problem that could occur, and this is an issue for Moroccan company. So do we have the certitude in Morocco? Do we have the trust that the technology transfer is going to take place? When we increase the integration level, it should go along with technology transfer. At some point, technology transfer will be transferred in order to help country like Morocco to develop and innovate. In our case, this is happening very well. This is why we create an engineer hub. This is why we launch other products for the future, whether it is about developing. I'm talking about our case, even in the case of manufacturing, whether it's about we are launching a collaboration with local supplier in order for them to able to help us in the developing in the small machine of small size. Regarding our subject, I will say that today there's a lot of technology that are under development. We are developing engine, we are developing hydrogen engines, we are developing electric battery, we are developing car with no drivers. So, to be able to work on technology, on cutting edge technology, there are some steps to be filled. We need to have university where research is taking place. We are a company that is focused on research and development. We are linked with universities. This is missing in Morocco. So technology transfer could not take place in Morocco. We start with technology that are already mature, that could be transferred. In order to reach that, we need to send engineer in Europe. We have sent some engineer in France, in Germany. They are going to come back to Morocco to mentor other people. So I have one question. Is it not very advantageous for you to hire Moroccan engineer trained in Germany and repatriate them in Morocco? I think if we would like to develop a new field of business, we need to invest. And this is what we are doing in order to launch our testing ground. What we said, we sent some engineers in France, in Germany for training, and then be back in Morocco. Of course, we are going to bring back people that have been trained, German, French people, high-skilled people that are going to come here for 6 months to 2 years in order to raise the level of expertise of our testing ground. Then Morocco will gain autonomy. Then the engineer will gain more experience in order to be able to carry out all the activities in Morocco. So regarding this question, are you sending engineers abroad or what are you doing? Regarding Stahl Schmidt, I am on the same ground with Mr. Zuruk. We are a manufacturing company. In this case, our know-how exists already. Technology transfer was done quickly. We start the first manufacturing unit quickly because the process and the production is existing. I am on the same line with my friend. If we are working on the software development or development of new product, this is a know-how that is not existing in Morocco. So we need to develop skills. Mr. Till, the same question goes to you regarding technology transfer, skill transfer. Is it one key point for you in order to answer the question in order to raise the skill, in order to have a tier 1 and tier 2 supplier? What do you think about?
Definitely, the skill set is always important. And I would not only talk about engineers, but also the people working in the factory. So, for example, if we talk about electromobility, you know, we have the famous Elektromechaniker in Germany, so electromechanic, and you need a lot of those skilled workers in order to produce electric vehicles. And I also want to emphasize on kind of like my vision for Morocco to have this cycle economy really implemented in Morocco, not only producing electric cars, as Mr. Hafsi said, you're already doing that with Opel, starting his plant. And there you can see great innovation and skill level of employees, because this E-model of Opel was actually developed, not only produced, but also developed at the Morocco Technical Center in Casablanca. So you have a very good skill level there already. But then I would think about the cycle economy. Why only produce electric cars? Why not also recycle, go into the business of recycling batteries? Because As you know, the European Commission this year calls for the phase out of all internal combustion engine vehicles by 2035. So we will have a lot of electric vehicles on the market. In 10 years, we will have a lot of batteries on the market that need recycling and that needs skilled labor to recycle these batteries. It's a process that is at the moment quite manual. It's a little bit comparable to the setup of wire and harness that is so strong in Morocco. We have a lot of manual skilled labor needed, and that is very affordable in Morocco, so a great business case there. And I believe that I talked to a chemical company that's also investing in Morocco, and they are starting to look at opportunities to build up recycling plants. Of course, the demand for batteries will not be there tomorrow, for battery recycling. It will not be there tomorrow. But I think you need to start now to set up the skill level for electromechanics to recycle batteries. And you can start now with my colleague, Mr. Serouk said it, Prattle is producing e-bike batteries. Why not start with recycling e-bike batteries for now, and then once the volumes rise up for vehicle battery recycling, you are ready to be there in the market and become a very good competitor and be a source for Europe's battery recycling. And there again, the great advantage of Morocco of being a logistics hub, being so close to Europe, is again an advantage, because you don't want to transport used batteries all over the world in order to recycle them. You want to have very low logistic costs, and there Morocco is perfect for that. So I would say the vision should be for Morocco should be to have the whole cycle economy of electric vehicles within the country, produce the cars, produce the batteries as well. You have great cobalt and phosphate resources in the country, so you can produce the batteries, start producing the cars, and then in the long term you will be able to recycle the batteries as well. And I think that's a great business case, and also for expanding to other markets, to sub-Saharan Africa. You could become the logistics hub for other markets in Africa, for European companies that want to expand in Africa. Why not Morocco use as the logistical hub for sub-Saharan Africa? So there are great potentials in the whole business idea of e-mobility for Morocco, in my point of view.
Thank you, Mr. Thiel. Battery recirculation, we are coming to an end. I would like to give you the floor. If you will have a German company in front of you desiring to come to invest to Morocco, we try to give you an overview of what could drive you to come to invest in Morocco in the automotive. 2 items, what will you highlight? Proximity to Europe. As I said, 1 hour between Morocco and Europe. Skills that are already available. Mr. Hafsi, I will say stability of the country and the mentorship, the mentoring, the vision of the authority. Mr. Ibrahimi, I will repeat the 4 pillars. Stability, political stability, logistic that is available, and next to Europe, there is the know-how of engineers. We do have the workforce and the low cost of the labor. All these pillars made Morocco attractive for automotive. Mr. Thiel, what will you say to your customers that come to see you seeking advice? Two advice.
I can only agree with my colleagues. Logistical benefits, support from the state, tax advantages, skill level of workers. But I would also emphasize, look at today, the network of companies in Morocco is already there. We are sitting here at the table, and there are plenty of other companies. I believe 250 suppliers of automotive are already in Morocco, so you're not the first one to go there. There's a network there that can support you, and you can export goods, but you can also supply goods within Morocco. I mean, you have great partners that can build up your company together with you and try to use economies of scale.
Thank you, all the watcher. We are done, but you have a lot of time for networking. Please, on our network platform, please don't forget that we have the breakout room on Competence Center in Automation. Thank you to the Trade Chamber of Morocco. Thanks to the GIZ for organizing this business talk. See you soon. Goodbye.